Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour Podcast.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome back. Episode 301. Huge shout out to Joe from Scarlet Sprites and Dan from Console Wars for helping us bring in our big episode 300. It was a hell of a time. My God, was it somehow we all walked away relatively okay the next day. So that was a small miracle. We'll be getting back to the weekly uploads for the podcast because, took a couple days off prepping, took most of the next week off after, giving ourselves a little less time. And plus time for Bri to finish working on other videos. So, yeah, but we are back. Bri, how you doing?
Woo! It's been a week, Chambers. Tired as shit, but as you pointed out, was able to get out the Postal 2 video for anyone who's already watched it. Appreciate it. Make sure you go check it out. Already begun work on Berserk Boy, and yeah, there's been a lot of drinking since last time we met. The episode 300. Went through 9 beers that episode. You babied your beers and should have went through
Don't
more.
you dare. I went through 11, I'll have you know.
Um, we once again had a whole weekend of seeing each other, both at my son's birthday and then at brunch. Um, I did quite a bit more drinking after you left, and even the night of my son's birthday, which I would have had better beer, but apparently we went through all those Sam Adams variety pack. I didn't even realize we did. So I wasn't expecting many people to touch that. So, and then also Hams has now become, I don't want to say it's a staple for others, but I've introduced others to it and they all agreed how much they liked it. So they helped finish off the remainder of that 30 pack I had gotten. So literally all I had left is the big old silver bullets, the Coors Lights, and yeah, I took a sip. It's fine.
It's a course.
It's Coors, and I couldn't justify going out and buying more beer because still like half the cooler was filled with these because everyone switched over to Hams at some point and like stronger shit. So they left me like all the coolers I got. So I'm like, fuck it. Let me go through that. So yeah, it's been a day. I've been up since 4 o'clock. Just got done coaching my son's first football practice. Saw a goddamn Minecraft movie. Too much, Jim. Too much.
Brian, you saw the modern day Rocky Horror. The Zoomers have arrived, Brian. They have theirs.
Jim, it was an event. It was a spectacle. I don't know if the whole reason why my theater went as nuts as they did is because of the shit going around. Like now, granted, I saw it on Friday night, and when do movies release? Are they on
Uh,
Fridays or Thursdays?
I mean, I
I'm
thought
trying to
like
remember.
maybe Thursdays. I forget. I'm so out of the loop.
So we went, basically opening night, and yeah, the theater was nothing but teenage boys who clearly love the shit out of Minecraft. From the beginning, they were rowdy, doing chants of chicken jockey, and every time like Steve appeared, or the world appeared, or this appeared, like when I say the entire audience was cheering at full volume would be an understatement. And then at certain scenes, they throwing popcorn and just being obnoxious. I don't mind it. It was stupid fun. My son loved it, and then he hated it because he couldn't hear the movie. But then he went back to loving it again. Some people left the theaters and had to remark that they felt everyone was being disrespectful. Which
You
you're coming
you are not
to a
respecting art.
Minecraft. Yeah, you're coming to a Minecraft movie, and I warn anyone who actually goes and who decides to watch this. I promise you, if you're just at your house watching it or watching it on some little ass screen, you're gonna be like, "Really? Like, really?" It's not gonna hit at all. So it was more just the experience. Haven't seen a movie have a reaction like this ever, to be honest. I've seen some big ones like in Avengers with like Cap getting the hammer and shit like that, but for throughout an entire movie, I've never seen one like that. So it was an experience. The movie itself, not that great. The experience, kind of cool, but I enjoyed it through the eyes of my son. So yeah, he gets points for that. So yeah, Jim, I don't know. I doubt you'll get suckered into it. You might have dodged that bullet with your daughter never playing it. So
She has never touched Minecraft. She has no interest. A bunch of her friends like it, but yep, never stuck with her. So lucky me. Maybe, when she'll watch it? She will watch it when she is hanging out with her dear cousins. That's when she will watch it, Brian.
yeah, yep. Um, there's some okay funny parts, but most of it is what you would expect out of a video game movie. But
Right.
yeah,
When do
man.
you buy your son the 12-inch tall Jack Black action figure? Hottest item on the market.
Fat Steve. Yeah. Jim, this is going to be shocking for you to hear, but Jack Black is basically Jack Black in this movie.
Really? You
He
don't say.
even there's even some very unnecessary like why are they trying to do kind of a rock song? It seems with him
Even like the couple
because
scenes I saw with him, it seems like he's almost playing it up like his Jack Black character from Tenacious D, because it's like so over the top in that way.
yes, it is extremely over the top. And that's the whole movie, but yeah, if you don't like Jack Black, sorry, you're really not gonna like this one.
Ah man, the racist out there. Ah, they're not. They're done.
What about you, Jamers? What you been up to and what you drinking tonight?
Not a whole hell of a lot. I am also a very sleepy boy because I went to AEW Dynasty this past Sunday.
Boo.
So when that's apparently the entire internet's reaction to that show, like the whole wrestling community, they were all pissed off by the end of that one. It was definitely felt like I don't watch weekly any wrestling at this point, so like I didn't know any of the stories for the most part going in. So really, I just enjoyed the show because like most of the matches were pretty goddamn good, and the crowd, it's a Philly crowded wrestling event, so they're super into it no matter what. Um, but yeah, it was a good time. Of course, can they do what WWE did? Like, for all of Triple H's faults, he at least moved pay per views to Saturday because having a show on a Sunday that ends at 12:30 at night sucks. So there's like at least four of the matches did not need to be on a pay per view, by the way, but it was a good show. It was a good time. Apparently, a lot of people got like stranded down there because like they stayed for like people talking after the show, so they missed the last SEPTA rides out of there.
Ha!
So there was a whole, which like it's yes on SEPTA, but it's more in AEW. It's like, hey, time your shit around your crowd, but whatever. But yeah, that was a good time. But I've been a sleepy boy, and I'm still trying to catch up on sleep. But I'm going to drink away my sorrows tonight from the Rusty Rail Brewing Company. It is their Island Mayhem Tropical Sour Punch. It's got a very cool giant crab on the front there. They always have really good artwork on their cans. 5% alcohol, made with tropical punch powder, pineapple, pink guava, prickly pear, and natural flavors. 15 IBUs, and yeah, that it sure drinks like 15 IBUs because there is not a lot of bitterness. There's no bitterness at all. Actually, there's shockingly like not that much flavor either.
Hmm. Yeah, Rusty Rail's art design reminds me of them trying to imitate clown shoes.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. And as far as this beer goes, like it kind of just tastes like a pilsner with like the slightest hint of like sour-ish flavor at the back end.
Hmm.
Very, very underwhelming. If you don't like sours, or no, if you like sours, you'll probably not really like this one. And if you don't like sours, I mean, you might, but it won't give you like any kind of that sour experience. So
Hmm.
maybe it will be one for the people who hate them out there. There are plenty.
Nice. So, Chambers, with this little hiatus from the podcast, what have you been able to play over the past 2 weeks?
Shockingly, not a lot. So I haven't been completely useless. So I on the Patreon, I put up a video, did a little tier list video ranking all the live shows I went to last year. Something a little different. Figured what the hell. Also, next week, this will be it won't be out by the time this is out, but the Monday after, I have a tier list coming up for all the games I beat last year. So since we didn't really do a gimmick last year. We didn't do our usual, level 50 videos or the other thing like that. So getting them out of my mind, getting some mini reviews out there from it. So I more worked on videos than anything. And then when I wasn't, I was playing StarCraft. But this week I am going to start into X-Men 2. I want to get that review done. I want to do my homework, Bry. I want to be a good boy. So I will start going hard on that.
Nice. Yeah, I've been going through BioShock Infinite, which like you said, so far I don't have a particular anything bad to say about it. And even though I have nothing bad to say about it, there's nothing shockingly good. And like I loved BioShock 1 and 2, and I felt like those games really captured the kind of horror-ish elements, but with like really cool gameplay. This one is just so far really cool gameplay, almost no horror. There's almost this weird like very, very highly political thing. And I know in the first two, you could argue that that's there as well. This one, there's a lot of overt racism. I'll say that. And I think maybe that's a issue people have with this game. Once
Right, you
again,
should love it.
I'm not, damn it, Jim. I'm not on the internet, so I don't know if this game received backlash for that. But that's kind of the point, right? You're a guy going through this cloud city, and there's all types of shit going on. But I'm still pretty early on the game, so can't really weigh in too hard. But like you, I haven't played much except I dipped my toes back into Call of Duty, Warzone specifically, because they brought back Verdansk, which was the original Warzone map. Um, I I won my first battle royale back, and
Jesus.
and I haven't played that game since we had it in November or December, whenever I stopped playing. And I even sent it over to our buddy Chris. I got like 8 kills in it, like in the Warzone thing. Like he's like, Jesus Christ. So yeah.
Disgusting.
Jim. It's like riding a bicycle. Um,
I wouldn't know.
but yeah, so I want to pick up the pace finishing BioShock 2. I want to play through X-Men 2 as well. I know we played it that one night we were together, but my focus has also been on editing. I'm trying to get through Berserk Boy, and then trying to organize another time with you for us to go through some more rankings, Jim. It's a fun thing for you and I, and people are asking for it. So want to give the folks what they want, get that back on track.
Yep, no, exactly. A shockingly well received video by us. So, in typical fashion, we will not be striking while the iron is hot, but we will still try and do what we can. Right, we're
Eh,
old and we have families and they suck up all their life. We'll never be famous.
Stop wasting time going to goddamn AEW events, Jim. Fuck.
Bry, I had to see Timeless Tony Storm. Bry,
So,
cheap dress like
Chambers,
Rocky.
I will say there is one game I played and getting us back on track with our
Find the pickle.
we I can't even make it disappear. Um
Keep going.
uh, but yeah, so I had the final pick from our NES games that we chose, and my selection was Ninja Gaiden 2, which admittedly I don't know if I ever played. I know I've played at least one of the Ninja Gaidens. I don't know if I played the second one ever. But I was trying to give us a very whatever game. And oh boy, that game is a hard motherfucker. And I'm not shocked knowing it's hard. I guess I fooled myself like how quickly I got through the first level boss. Second level, I was like, there's this cool like weather effect. Okay. And then that second part of the second level was when I started realizing like, oh, this is tough. And trudged my way through that, got through the third level, and I got to the boss and I kept dying at the boss because I kept getting to him with like almost no life left because that third level, fuck me. And you know, all of us have watched AVGN, but man, did he hit the nail on the head with like the constant respawning enemies, the getting knocked back, the just the stupid bullshit. And this game, what drives me crazy is how fucking pinpoint accurate you have to be with your jumps. And also, maybe I just didn't figure it out. When you're wall jumping or even wall climbing, you can't just directly go over. Like if you're going up a wall, you can't just jump straight up. You have to try and hop over and hop over. And in some situations, I was on a wall where no matter what I would have done, I was going to fall. So there was some bullshit. Now the game still beautiful. The graphics actually I'm not that high on. The graphics were okay. The sound in the second and third level, love the music. The gameplay, fun but very bullshitty. So I don't know if this is a game I would definitely go unless we decided to ever review the Ninja Gaiden games. I
No.
don't know if I would go back and ever put this on myself because oh boy, did I get my old rage monkeys with games. I haven't yelled at a game in a long time. This fucking game. I think I had like 5 minutes left on my hour and I died literally like 10 times on this level and I was like, fuck this. And Logan was playing a game. He had his headphones on. I'm trying to contain it, but I like yelled. He's like, Daddy, you cursed. I was like, I know. Like it was, yeah, I was very frustrated by the end of that. So, Jim, what was your experience?
Well, Bry, let me take you on a little tale before I even got to the game. So, I own a copy of Ninja Gaiden 2. So I went, good. I've only barely touched it years ago to make sure the cartridge worked. So I went, hey, look at me. Look at me over here using my stuff, using this crap behind me, using my plastic. Go to pop it in the NES. It's not working. I go, all right, that's fine. That's fine. Clean, 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 clean. Pop it in again. Not working. All right. Getting a little angry here, but all right. So, you know, clean, 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 clean. Wait until the next day. Give it time. Give it time to dry, Bry. Not working. So I go and I buy these. These are one-up cards. These are like special pads on each side. One you can put a solution on to really scrub away at your game, and the other side you can use to dry it. Scrub, scrub,
Oh,
scrub, clean, clean, clean. Didn't work. So this is what they look like. Can't get that in focus, really, kind of deal. These are the pads on each side. So frustrating. I decide, wait a second, I have other means. So I pop it into my Retron 5. It'll just read the ROM. It'll just dump it, and then I can play. Put it in there, card not recognized. What the hell? So I try and try again. That doesn't work. So try to good old emulation route. So I decide to check the internet, and I forgot at this point. Oh wait, no. First I go, wait, I think Ninja Gaiden's on Switch Online, and it is, but just Ninja Gaiden 1. Not only Ninja Gaiden 1, but they had a remix version of Ninja Gaiden 1. So instead of putting Ninja Gaiden 2 on there, we just have two versions of Ninja Gaiden 1. Wonderful. So then I decide to go straight up emulation. I go to the websites and I go, oh yeah, Nintendo strikes all these down. So Ninja Gaiden's on like no ROM websites. And since I have a new fancy computer, I don't want to torrent it. So
wait,
luckily,
you really couldn't find it on Cool ROMs?
I didn't see it on Cool ROMs. Or maybe I tried. I tried like 3 or 4 ROM sites, but maybe I didn't even do Cool ROMs and it wasn't there. I forget. But I tried a couple ROM sites and I just couldn't get it off there. So luckily, Brian, since I am a hoarder with my hoarding ways, I still had my external hard drive from college.
Just
Lo
about
and
past that.
behold, lo and behold,
Yeah.
all my ROMs are on there. So I rip them all off, put them on the computer. Of course, the emulator I had on that hard drive was so old it wasn't even recognized by the computer. It wouldn't even fucking play it. So I just had to download a new emulator and I could finally play. Bry, after all this effort, after all this struggle, what awaited me but an hour of the most frustrating bullshit I have dealt with some goddamn time. I'm already mad from spending a week trying to use my actual goddamn cartridge, jumping through hoops and spending money to try and make it work. Now I got to play this game where, much like you, first level, died here and there. Still, kind of a breeze. Not bad. Going, all right. And remembering to back when I tried playing Ninja Gaiden 1 before, like, I got to like level 5 or 6 before after a decent amount of time. It was hard. It wasn't too bad. Level goddamn 2 in Ninja Gaiden 2 with that goddamn air mechanic. Right. I spent a full at least a full goddamn half hour on that game, on that level alone, if not more. Just dying and dying and dying and dying and dying and dying and dying again and dying again and dying the fuck again.
Dude, that fucking weather level. I dumb lucked my way through it like the first time to get to like second part of the stage. And yeah, once I do you go through the same thing once you start losing? Instead of doing the right thing, which is why don't you take your time and go a little slow?
Nope,
You're
I
now just
YOLO.
trying to skip.
Nope.
Yeah, you're like, fuck it. I'm gonna try and avoid the enemies. I'm not even trying to engage with them. I'm gonna use all the powers just to get past them, just so I can get to the checkpoint. Like you're just trying to get to that fucking checkpoint. And it never works out, does it, Jim?
Sure does it. So, after struggling for a good 40 minutes to get through level 2, I finally get through it. And then level 3 is waiting for me. So, luckily, as I learned, level 3.2 is a checkpoint where if you die, it'll just start you right there. It won't
Yep.
make you do the whole level again. That's nice. But I never got past level 3.2. And by the time that my hour was up, I didn't really care. I hated every single goddamn second I spent with that game. I was miserable. I was angry. I was a defeating broken man. And like you said, music, top notch. The graphics in the game, it's a good looking NES game, which, unless you're an 8-bit fanatic, like, I don't think any 8-bit NES game looks that good. I'll just throw that out there. But
Mm,
on a sliding scale, it does. The presentation's out of this world with all the cutscenes and story that they had in the beginning of it.
yeah.
You know, the control very tight. The hitboxes very bullshit. I was not a fan of just like how precise you have to be. So yeah, it's not a game for me, Brian. I can't recommend it to anyone but people who like hard NES games and want to challenge himself. Anyone who is a casual or isn't used to those older games or isn't forced to play it, there is no enjoyment to be had.
Yeah. The sadistic part of me that enjoys a challenge, like I just don't want to get beat by something, is the only reason I go back. But once again, I don't think I'll ever willingly pick it up.
I won't because my cartridge is broken.
Oh, I love the caveat with all. Well, Chambers, I mean, listen, we went through the NES, had some goods, had some bads. I think you now know the rules. Probably don't pick RPGs for an hour long session.
Uh
You know,
oh.
um, yeah. So we'll either move probably Super NES or Genesis next, and see what we come across, Chambers.
We'll take it from there. Lucky day.
But till until then, as we already mentioned, we were able to get out a Postal 2 review, which was brought to us because of our Patreon request. And we were also, I'm in the midst of editing the Berserk Boy. So hopefully, following this episode, you'll see that video next week. Um, but Chambers, we're really close on wrapping that up once we get through X-Men 2 and Max Payne. Of course, want to thank our patrons, but what questions do we have this week?
Right. We don't
Yes.
have any questions. No one had, they had 2 weeks and no one got any questions in. It happens. But if you want to get your questions in for next week, head on over to patreon.com/drinkabeerandplayagame, where for as little as $2, you can ask any question on these Power Hour podcasts. For as little as $1, you can see the tier list video that I just put up there. And of course, for all the other content and the higher tiers for game review requests, movie review requests, bonus episodes, and all that good stuff. I know our buddy Nerdy Nick had a hell of a time at the Game On Expo, so we'll be getting with him about trying to record a new bonus episode soon. And huge shout out to Dr. Jones for signing up for the $5 tier. So if you are listening, make sure to check the message I sent you, get us those requests in, and yeah, thank you for the support.
Yeah, thank you, bud. Truly appreciate it. And make sure everyone else get those questions in. You don't even gotta wait for Jim to ask. If you're supporting us and listening, send it to us here, send it to us through Patreon, through email, however you got them. We appreciate the support, guys. All right, Chambers. So we this week you got us a new weird beer item, and I certainly love these. Ironically, we were just talking about this beer on Saturday.
We were.
What the hell did Miller High Life decide to do as a special release? Is the best word I'm going to use for this?
Right. Genius move. They are going after that hipster millennial crowd to bang bang, guns blazing, because they are releasing the year's most unusual Record Store Day vinyl. So Record Store Day is a big thing nationwide where all the record stores will put, crazy deals and have exclusive items that you can pick up. And one of them will be by our good friends over at Miller High Life. And Brian, what this is the Dive Bar Sounds LP, which is the first ever record pressed on vinyl infused with the champagne of beers. So yeah, basically on Thursday, April 10th. Well, this won't be out by then, so sorry everybody. But 2 days before Record Store Day, Murder Life opens pre-orders for the Dive Bar Sounds LP, which claimed to be the first ever record ever pressed on vinyl with the champagne of beers. It also looks like beer. On a record, you ask. It's part of the new Soundtrack to the High Life music platform and includes weight original tracks, largely but not entirely instrumental in a variety of styles, overlaid with sounds of a dive bar, a door creaking, pool balls clacking, people chatting, bottles and cans being open, etc. So they were recorded on location in actual Midwest taverns, according to sources at Miller Coors. And so it's canned background music and sound effects created with music composer, producer, and engineer Brendan Lynch Salomon. And at the end, there's a closing time song, which, hey, article, you don't have to hate on Semisonic's closing time. It's a great song. It's a great hit. It's a perfect song for the end of the night. I don't care that they've been playing it for 30 years at bars to close out the night. You know what? You rate a better one. How about that? Go fuck yourself. But yes, it is a 25-minute time limit, and they put a description of some of the songs on here. And folks 21 or over can pre-order for $18 at noon on April 10th at MillerHighLife.com while supplies last. Limited quantities are available for pre-orders across multiple days between the 10th, 11th, 15th, and 16th.
So if you click on the link that we have below, they actually have the video with the soundtrack, so I decided to listen to it. Um, I don't know. I when I think Miller High Life, I was thinking I was gonna get more country-ish rock, more like twanginess. Some of it's a little heavier than I would have expected, and they mix in a few other tracks that are like more alt low key, I would call them. Um, it's fine. It's background noise. It's exactly what it's describing. Jim, my question to you is, if we could get this, do you think if you crack it open, you can drink the
Ooh,
record?
that means you have to buy two of them then, because Bri, you need one to listen to whenever you're having those nights out with the boys. All right, you can't just wreck art like that immediately. But yes, I mean the way it looks, it does look like beer is gonna be like flowing around through it. So, or at least stuck in these little air pockets or something. It's really wild looking, actually.
Yeah, I I went down the path of watching how vinyl is made, and it is pretty fucking insane. So I don't know how if that really is liquid or it just looks like it. Like I don't know. I have seen like clear vinyls that like have that same look like Halloween things, like with fake blood in it before.
Oh
So
yeah, and like tie
I
dye
know
and all of
you,
this shit. Yeah,
yeah, I know you can do liquids. I don't know. But
right. I'm gonna say yes. I want to live in a world where Miller High Life is inside of a vinyl. All right.
Jim, you've never, for being a music guy, you don't have any vinyls, right?
No, I have some. Like we have a record player, like one of those $50 ones you could got in Bed Bath and Beyond back in the day, the Victrolas. And I don't know, between my wife and I, we have, I don't know, probably 50-ish vinyls. And we
Do
go
you
through
really?
phases. Yeah, we go through phases where we listen to them a lot and then we don't touch them for like a year. So, it's not like
Hmm.
an immediate go-to. Like saying, "Hey Alexa" is way more convenient, obviously, but sometimes when you're just chilling out and relaxing, it's nice to put on a record and go through that whole spiel.
Where is that in your house?
In the living room in our corner.
Huh.
I'll
Never
show it to you
noticed
next
it.
time you're there. Yep.
Yeah. Um, as the resident collector of odd items and apparently a vinyl collector, does this hold any interest for you?
Brian, the sick part of me does kind of want to get it. I know I have no need for it. I would probably never even listen to it, but there's a part of me There's a part of me
Just
that wants it.
the collector part of you is probably the bigger part here.
That's the part that's eating away in my brain. The same one that's eating away in my brain that wants me to spend $300 on that Eagles Christmas album. Uh, like $18, probably. I mean, how can I go wrong with $18?
Here's my real question. If you were to buy it, because yeah, it's not terribly expensive,
No,
would opening it and then playing it ruin its collector shine? So would you just keep it wrapped? Or would you do like you almost said, like get two copies, one you could play and one you just keep?
I don't think it's gonna be good enough to warrant buying two copies, Brian. Call me a pessimist, if you will. But I'm gonna make a bold prediction here, Brian. But so yeah, I really can't justify it. It's like a cool niche little thing. It's goofy. Like I like goofy and cheap and cool collector shit, obviously. So it's like screaming at me to buy it, but I can't justify it. I'll never
Do it,
play it.
Joe.
You
Do
do
it
it.
before it ends up like you know what? You know how we've talked about before the guy who bought all the Burger King video games, or like thousands of them. You could be the Miller High Life record collector, Jim.
I could be. I could be the king of Miller Mountain. I think I have to do it now.
It's time to give up your Keystone flag and be a Miller boy. Come to the High Life, Jim.
Hurts my soul. It's betrayal. It's wrong.
But you know I love these goofy things, so good find with that.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to the Discord. Links are below for all these platforms. If you want to join the Discord, if you're a Discord kind of person, free to enter. It's not paywalled or anything like that. So come on in. It's a cool group we have over there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you, bud, for showing that to Chambers. But Jim, let's be honest. Since the last time we talked, there was one event that definitely took the gaming world by storm. I'm actually surprised at how quickly I feel like interest in this came and went. There was a lot of discourse on it, which we'll get to, but
Grum's
what
making
happened,
porn?
Jim? No, Jim, not talking about that. Why
Yet.
don't you tell the folks what's the big thing that happened on April 2nd?
April the 2nd. Scored with comments of, I thought April Fool's was yesterday. Brian! Nintendo had their Switch 2 Direct. It was an hour presentation showing off a bunch of different games, showing off a bunch of different accessories, and eventually showing off a price point, Brian. So,
They sure
uh,
have.
the Switch 2, as we all know by now, has an MSRP of $450. Games for the Switch 2 will be, well, originally announced games, some could be $80, some could be $90. Uh, but it wasn't like a stalwart, everything's 80 and stuff like that. And some people were claiming 90 wasn't actually announced, but like I'm sure I saw that like in the actual presentation.
It was there. Yep.
Yeah. So like ugh, that was the one that everyone went, hold the fuck up. $80 for a goddamn Nintendo Switch game? What? So,
And,
and then
and let's
they
be clear, Jim. I just want to stop you right there. Nintendo can spin it however they want, but for the majority of their first party, if it's Mario, Metroid, Zelda, Donkey Kong, any of those franchises, I promise you it will be an $80 game. Sure,
oh
maybe
yeah.
they're lower level tier games. They'll give you a break. Maybe it'll only be 70, but you're about to pay $80. And I don't, put aside their bullshit justification of, well, we give you so much content with the game. It's like, do you? Because there's other games that give plenty more content, and some of them are free. But go on, Jim. Keep explaining.
So they announced a bunch of new features, like their new party chat feature, their video chat feature that you could be doing in game with the camera accessory that they will be doing. So, Brian, welcome to 2008. Nintendo finally did it. Uh, Also, they were talking about the Joy Cons and all the new tech and blah 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 blah. What the specs can do, you can do 4K out of it when docked. You can have 1080p when you're in handheld mode, which is definitely an improvement, bringing it to the modern day. Still a little behind, but to the modern day.
I mean, it's
Uh,
bringing it up to 360 standards. It's okay.
oh, pish posh, Brian, you now, let's not be silly little gooses here, Bry.
What?
But
That's
yeah,
1080p.
Barely. 360 barely does 1080. But yes. So then there are, of course, surprises given to the world, Brian, by politicians, the people we love the most. And the dear, fearless leader of this fine nation of the United States decided to tax the shit out of fucking every country. Well, tariff, I should say. So, there was a lot of rumors going around that like Nintendo was incorporating possible tariffs into their price structure, which depending on what you read, they were kind of planning on it, so that's why everything's a little higher, but they didn't expect this much. So, on April the 4th, they put out an official statement that says Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders will not start on April 9th in the United States. They have started in other parts of the world. They have already opened up in the UK and other places, and apparently, we are recording on the 8th, have already sold out in a lot of spots. So, in order to address the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions, Nintendo will update at a later date. The launch of the June 5th, 2025 is unchanged. GameStop will continue to work closely. Well, this came from GameStop, but with Nintendo to provide updates as soon as more information becomes available. Stay tuned. So, we have that going for us. So all prices for Nintendo Switch 2 hardware and games listed in the story are subject to change. This was a story that was coming to us from GameSpot, basically talking about the anticipated prices originally and all that stuff. $500 Mario Kart World bundle that we were going to get. And yeah, as of right now, the Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World Tour bundle is $500 with limited availability. The Switch 2 console will be just for $450. And as we all know, not available to buy in the United States. Prices for accessories. Switch 2 Pro controllers, $80. Switch 2 camera, $50. A 2-pack of Joy-Cons, $90. Individual Joy-Cons, $50. A charging grip, $35. Straps on their own, a 2-pack, Brian, for $13. The Racing Wheels 2-pack, $20. Carrying case and screen protector, $35. The all-in-one carrying case, $80. The AC adapter, $30. A Samsung 256GB micro SD express card. Also, you need to have express micro SD cards apparently for this. You can't just have like regular ones. I might be wrong on that, but I think I'm right. And then, of course, a separate dock set for $110, along with the price of the games and all that other good stuff. And then we eventually get to more news, Brian. So one thing that was pissing off a lot of people was about the cartridges. They were talking about the new cartridges, how much faster the new cartridges were, how much space the new cartridges would have. But then there was a dilemma. Apparently, a lot of these cartridges will just be a code on a cart, therefore making the physical Switch collector's market almost pointless. Now, I say almost with a caveat because this comes to us from Nintendo Prime over on X, the Everything app. So, hey, all of you journalists and YouTubers that ran the story without sending a free email to confirm that Switch 2 Edition games not having the extra content on the cartridge, you got duped. I sent a single email and got confirmed. And this is from the My Nintendo Store email that he got. Thank you for contacting the My Nintendo Store regarding your query. If you purchase a Nintendo 2 Edition game on a physical format, you will receive one cartridge with the upgrade already on it. However, if you already had the games for Nintendo Switch 1 and were to purchase the expansion update, you could then receive a digital download code regardless if you have it digital or a physical format. If you have further questions, do not hesitate to contact us. Why is that important? Well, it means that physical games that will actually have the game on there that are upgradable will have it, because I'm sure they're going to milk the fuck out of this like they did the Wii U. And I guess, like, you can upgrade your games to the Switch 2 editions of games you already own, but you have to pay a fee. But if you already have Nintendo Switch Online Plus, you don't have to pay a fee. Blah. Just rolls off the tongue. Super easy, not convoluted at all. On the Xbox, for all their faults, let's remind you that if you buy a game that is backwards compatible on the Xbox series of consoles, and they have upgrade editions, much like the original Sonic Generations, you can pop it in there, and for free, you will have the upgraded content. And your Sonic Generations will run at 1080p at a smooth 60 frames per second for the entire game. much like all the other games. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, their gaming structure. Well, one thing to get into first is their scalping. Scalping is always a problem, and they have a way to get around scalping. Oh my god, I need a freaking drink. But to get around scalping, they have a system in place on the Nintendo website where, in order to not be a scalper and to prove that you can be put in for the pre-orders, you have to have it's based on three criteria. You are a Nintendo Switch Online member status, having opted to hop into Nintendo's promo emails, and your original Switch playtime stats. For the first bit, have to have been a Nintendo Switch Online member for at least 2 years continuously by May 31st, 2025, and have an active membership to put in the day of your pre order. For family memberships, the person who purchased the membership will be eligible, but other people in that party membership will not be eligible. So, uh, you also could have spent a certain amount of time, which is undisclosed, with Nintendo Switch games, and then you will receive an email from Nintendo. So, you have to be a member, have to have played a certain amount of time, and you need to blah 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 blah. Wow. Finally, lastly, but not leastly, Nintendo's $80 pricing on select Switch 2 games is about each game's experience, content, and value. So, Brian, much like how WWE has changed their pricing structure for live events, especially the more in demand ones such as WrestleMania, to a dynamic pricing structure, which means that you will never be able to go to WrestleMania again for less than $1,000 a ticket. Nintendo has decided to do a similar model where games such as Mario Kart Tour and multiple Switch 2 edition games will be in there going all in on higher pricing. And basically, they chatted with Bowser, or they chatted with America's Vice President of Production and Player Experience, Bill Trinan, and he gave his own reasoning why Nintendo thinks $80 is right for Mario Kart. I would say it's less about strategy of pricing and more about, when we look at a game, we look at what the experience is, the content, and what's the value. But honestly, Mario Kart World is a game so big and vast that you will find so many little things to discover. There's still some other secrets remaining that I think people end up buying and playing the game. They're just going to find this and probably be the richest Mario Kart experience they've ever had. What I would say is that we just look at each individual game and we look at the content and the value of the game. And when we say, what is the right price for the value of this entertainment? What I would probably counter to some of that is really what you're looking at is for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, at the physical price for somebody that has not brought the base game. For somebody who has brought Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, the expansion packs for those are $10. If you happen to be a Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion member, both the packs are inclusive with that membership, so there's no additional charge. But our general approach is really just focus on the content, the value, and what's the appropriate price. And also, there is a story basically as of today with more interviews with good old Doug Bowser, where everyone's basically saying that he had his Don Matrick moment, where hold on a second, where the hell is this? Yes. So he says that we recognize that there are some people that may not be able to afford the Switch 2 price point. And that's why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available, so people still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe. So, are you a dirty poor out there? Well, just go buy the old Switch. If you can't afford the Xbox One, well, don't buy it. Just buy the old thing. Right. If you can't, don't be poor. That's your lesson, Bri. Don't be poor.
Jim, with everything you just said, why don't you take a few sips of beer? Because I I don't know what's sadder to me. Adults who are still complete diehard wrestling fans, and you can have your hobby and enjoy it, but the ones that still get on online fights about said hobby concern me. The same way Disney adults concern me. The same way the people that can't get Nintendo's cock out of your mouth and defend them to the death with all the shit you just pointed out. The raising of the price points, the bullshit of they're going to charge you to upgrade, the crazy amount of shit they're going to charge you for these little accessories that are overpriced beyond belief, to a system that you now got to basically Xbox 360. I'll even give you Xbox One standards. Still 2 generations behind. And they're like, oh, Nintendo did it again. It's like they did do it again. They're duping all of you. My favorite is the continued sharing of like, oh man, tell me you didn't grow up in the 90s with Super NES without saying it. It's like, and they show those little ads, and I'm like, those ads are Canadian prices where they're $80 or $90, right? Those weren't US prices. Like if you go to US prices, they were usually 40 to 50, maybe 60 in some cases.
And to be
Chrono Trigger could be hot.
fair,
Chrono
yes.
Trigger was like an exception, right? Like I'm not talking about the exceptions. I'm talking about the standard pricing. And to your point, just like the price of milk, the price of gas, yes, there can be fluctuations in the market, but once certain things hit certain price points, they will never come back down. And you damn well know, like Mario Kart and any other first party Nintendo games are still going to sell like crazy, and that's just going to be the new price point. There's not a real justification for it. The whole content, whatever. Um, do you think they're not going to release DLC for that, Jim? Or that
Oh,
they're going to release it free?
well, you know what? To their credit, like the entire life of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you have Nintendo Switch Online, you could get the updates basically. I think you needed to have the expansion pack for to get some of the updates, but there were updates that they kept supporting it.
But if you didn't have it, then you had to pay for the extra content, right?
I think I forget at this point. I mean, I just
So,
know when I pop it in, like I have a standard Nintendo Switch Online account. I pop
yeah,
the game and there's a shitload of content there, so
yeah.
I'll give it that.
Um, with all that being said, I'm not shocked. I think gaming prices are one of the weird things that haven't gone up as drastically as we've seen. And listen, I can justify. Listen, people who play Mario Kart, they're going to put thousands of hours into it. So an $80 investment up front, yeah. If you look at life cycle costs, it's not crazy. My fear would be like if they're going to start saying like Metroid Dread is an $80 game, something of that caliber, where you're like, that's a 9 hour game, 14 max if you do a completionist run of it. Like you don't need to spend all your time. Is that worth 80? Is that worth $80 the same way Mario Kart is? I don't know. Uh, the games themselves that they showed, Mario Kart is obviously taking the cake. Jim, I got to be honest. I look at that compared to what's on the Switch, and I'm like, what other than, oh, now they have weather patterns? What is so drastically different about that? That's like, wow, this is clearly the thing that makes us that next jump in generations. That's been fucking how many years since Mario Kart 8, which was on the Wii U, which was just upgraded for Switch. Like, what is that, 12 years now between games?
Nah, what was Mario Kart? Because Mario Kart 8 came out way too late in his life. I think it was like 2015 or something.
But it was on the Wii U, right?
Yeah,
So,
it
okay,
wasn't
10
a
years.
launch game, but yeah, probably about a 10-year life cycle for that.
So
And
10
yeah, to
year
answer
life
your
cycle.
question, I think like the amount of racers in one time in a race is like doubled. You can have like what 30 some racers at least at once. And then there's also the option where you can just jump out of a race and explore all these giant open worlds that they've apparently created for these maps. So I'm sure the autists of the world are going to go and comb through every single microscopic pixel of these worlds to find every single secret and to find, the speedrunners of the world are going to find ways to exploit this to, you know, make speedrunning crazy. So it seems like there's a lot of background stuff that's really been added to the game where the core game is still Mario Kart.
Yeah. But like, okay. So that was huge. The Donkey Kong game, the Metroid game. Um I'm
How
not
the hell is your demo game for your controller a paid for game? In what world is that Nintendo Tour bullshit a
I
game that you go, I should pay for this?
but
Like
Jim,
Nintendo
this
Land
goes
on
back.
the Wii U was a stretch to be a game that you pay for, but at least it had some good games on there. This, my God.
Jim, I knew it was bullshit when they started charging people for cardboard. Like, come on. This is Nintendo. I that doesn't even shock me. I guess you and I talked for a while. We speculated which Mario game, which thing would be the big. So Mario Kart is obviously going to be the big seller. Everything else, nothing was like, oh my god, they're trying to throw in like Elden Ring as a third party game. Obviously, updates to Tears of the Kingdom and
And like probably the biggest game announced was the I forget what it's called at this point, but the basically Bloodborne 2. But Sony owns the name Bloodborne, so you can't say Bloodborne. But the new FromSoft Bloodborne looking game is going to be on the
yeah,
Switch too. Like that's pretty cool. And
that's
like a lot of
interesting.
games are coming over that haven't been on Nintendo in ages, like Final Fantasy VII remake and stuff like that. They're coming over, so it looks like a lot of third party support right out of the gate. So that's good.
Yeah, and I also don't buy that Dusk Blood's the one you're talking about for Switch 2. Um, I don't think that stays exclusive forever. I
Probably
think I
not.
think I think too many unless you're a first party Nintendo based like game. Too many companies now we've seen with Xbox, with PlayStation, PC, like too many of them are like, yeah, at some point we're gonna just release it elsewhere.
And
But
FromSoft is such a hot commodity that like they kind of have to, unless Nintendo
exactly,
throws them a fuckload of money, which they probably won't.
yeah,
Yes, but to get back to the pricing points of everything, I think 450 for the price of the Switch 2 is fine. I think with the upgrades, with being able to do 4K when docked, it's fine. And with the price of materials and shit like that these days, like it's a whole different world than it was in 2017. I can accept that. The price of the games, though, like when Grand Theft Auto 6 was rumored to be, and it probably now definitely will be $100.
yep,
And back to your point about like it's shocking the game prices haven't risen. They probably should have over the years, but they knew people would be pissed. So they dipped their toes in with a couple games being $70. Now that's somewhat the norm. And Nintendo just threw the baby out the bathwater. So now everything's gonna be $80. We're all fucked now. As much as I like first party Nintendo games and know that there's the quality there, they're unique, they're gonna be fun, they're gonna be great. The hardware and the money invested into it does not justify it. If you want to say a game that's worth $2 billion should be sold for $100, I can't argue that.
yeah,
But Mario Kart Tour was made for about 50 million, which good on them for keeping it economical. But it's such a tough sell. And again, Mario Kart will probably be one of the few games that will be worth the $80. You'll get your
yeah.
use out of it. But like you said, like, are they going to make Metroid Prime 4 fucking $80? They probably will. Will it be worth that much money? Unless you're a hardcore
No,
Metroid fan, probably not. So like, yeah, that's gonna be the toughest pill to swallow is the price point.
yeah. And here's the deal: you can love Metroid, be the biggest fan, but you can also call bullshit. Like it shouldn't be this much. Like if they were like, hey, the next Resident Evil is this much, I'm gonna buy it, but I'm also gonna be pissed and say it really shouldn't be this much. So I'll probably wait till it's secondhand. But like, there are games, like I said, Mario Kart may be an exception. GTA, any of these, name whatever game. There are games like that where you go, yep, makes complete sense. But yeah, going back to my issue is, man, people need to stop defending Nintendo. They're treating them like an indie developer the way they defend them. Like, oh, leave poor Nintendo alone. Like they are so goddamn. It's the same as religion or politics. I swear to God, with the level of defense of Nintendo of some folks, and I'm just like, what do you think they've done for you? Like, do you think they care about you?
Memories, Brian. Memories and childhood, Brian.
These are the same people that would probably swear, like, no, this stripper really did like me. It wasn't just because of money. She really likes me. I swear. Like we had good conversation.
Her name is Cinnamon, and she is going to be an actuary scientist, Brian. How dare you?
So here's okay. Here's my ultimate question, Jim. you became a little bit of a Nintendo whore with the Switch, and you liked your collection. You didn't really like Nintendo as much before, and then Switch turned you. Do you think this is a very early buy, or are you still gonna wait a little bit?
No, I'm gonna wait. Like I'm gonna assume maybe at the worst I'll do what I did with my first Switch, and hope that a year because they're releasing in June. My birthday's in March, so after 8 months, maybe like Newegg will have a deal where you'll get a couple games if you buy a system. Because like when I got my Switch, when I bought it, I got like two games with it. I think it was like Mario Kart and Fire Emblem Warriors. So I was like, okay, I can stomach that. That's a
Yeah,
good deal. So if I can find something like that on a third party site, I'll jump in then. Until then, I have all this shit behind me. I have this new computer next to me that I'm addicted to StarCraft again with. I don't need a Switch to right now.
nice. Yeah, I don't imagine. Wait, hold on. You're frozen right now.
Am I?
Yeah, on my screen, your hands are just like this. Am I frozen on your screen?
No, you've been fine.
I just don't know if you will be frozen when it comes video time. Oh, now you're good. All
Well, hopefully not. So we will see.
right. Coming back. Three, two, one. Burp. All right. Well, we'll follow what else comes out about the Switch. The tariff situation. It's just as interesting
Today,
as trying to look at your 401k, Jim.
today, the God Emperor announced that he will be imposing a 104% tax on China. So that'll go great. And my heart goes out to Mike Chi and the boys at HD Retrovision and RetroTink and all these other guys because they're fucked. They are so goddamn fucked. All these advancements we've made in retro gaming sphere and all these new technologies and hardwares and cables and stuff, say goodbye if this all goes through. So get them while you can, folks, because that ship will be sailing for a good chunk of time.
Yeah. So that's sadder things. Jim, let's move on to something we actually both always enjoy. We
Right.
like our
Buy
list, Jim.
American, unless you have to get your parts from China, and then Buy American turns into dead company. So that works. That's good. Rant over. You know what? I'm done bashing the politicians. I'm done bashing the Japanese. Let's bash the British, Brian.
Oh, the good old Brits. Their BAFTA put together the 21 most influential video games of all time. And just hearing that, I'm sure everyone has certain games that pop in their head. Like, what's going to be the most influential game?
Well,
And
Brian, since this is the British Academy of Film and Television
okay,
Arts, you have to assume it's just filled with 21 games from the ZX Spectrum, obviously.
I think it. I don't. You know what? I don't even know if this has a British lean to it. It has a lean. I don't know what the fuck to call this lean, but let's run through them, Chambers. Starting us off at 21, Grand Theft Auto.
Sure,
Coming in, coming in at number 20, Skyrim. Of
sure.
course. 19, Grand Theft Auto 3.
I mean, yeah, but all right, we already
This
got
is
two
where
from one.
it's already taken a turn for me. You're 3 games in. You already double dipped on a franchise, but okay. Number 18, Dark Souls.
Okay.
I think in a top 21, you should have a From Software game.
Yep.
17, Final Fantasy 7.
Sure.
Absolutely. 16, Baldur's Gate 3,
But
which, as we've discussed, is it still a new game syndrome? Granted, huge game. People loved it, won every award, but you just go ahead and throw that in there already, huh?
I mean, it's turn-based tactical. That's been around.
And it's most Remember, this isn't best games of all time, best sellers of all time, hottest games of all time. This is most influential. So, in the year and a half, is it even been a year and a half since the game's been out?
Maybe tops.
I don't know what influence it's had, but apparently it is. Because following it is a game that deserves a title, World of Warcraft, number 15. Absolutely. Should be
Right.
there.
Baldur's Gate 3, August of 2023.
Okay, so yeah, so coming up on 2 years, so very close to 2 years. um, then we got number 14, Metal Gear Solid.
Sure.
I can be okay with that. Number 13, Pong.
Yes, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
12, Tomb Raider.
All right.
Very high on a list of most influential. I think maybe this is where the British lean comes in a little bit. They
Yeah.
had to give her a little budge.
The hometown girl getting a little kick of the knickers there. Noticing?
She
Yeah.
should be
Okay.
maybe 21, but okay.
No
Number
Tomb
11.
Raider, no Uncharted. Okay.
Yeah. Number 11, Tetris. Of course. It's too
Of
low,
course.
but
It
of
should be
course.
higher. Yes.
Yeah, it's way too low on this list, but okay. Number 10, The Sims. I'm okay with that. For
I'm okay.
influential in
Has there
a
been
list
other
where you
games
have,
like The Sims though? Has anyone ever copied The Sims formula though? Like if you said Sim City, I'd be like, well, of course. But The Sims,
I
huge game,
guess,
hugely popular. Yes.
I guess,
What did it influence?
well, see, I don't know the right word for that because, yeah, Sims create their own thing. Like when I think simulation, I think Sims, and I think The Sims was bigger than Sim City, even though Sim City had more, like you just said, copycats.
Right.
But yeah, either way, I'd be okay. It shouldn't be this high on the list, is my point.
All right.
Number 9, Half Life 2.
Sure.
I
I
can
mean,
be okay with that. I'm not okay with the position, but yeah, that FPSs and what it, physics and all that. Sure.
yeah,
Number 8, Super Mario 64.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it basically started 3D platforming. I mean, it wasn't the first, but it first to do it right. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Number 7, Kingdom Come
Wait,
Deliverance 2.
didn't
Two
that come
months
out
old?
this year?
Yeah, it's maybe 2 months old at this point. So that's where I go, okay, this is clearly no longer about influential games because this was a if this was a hotly debated list or controversial or whatever, you could throw a lot of adjectives, but influential is not one word I would call Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So this one definitely helps really blow up. I already have enough issues with this list. That one makes me go, what the fuck? Number 6, Minecraft. Absolutely fine. Number 5, Zelda Ocarina of Time. Fine. I almost would say you could interchange that with Mario Kart 60 or Super Mario 64.
I mean, they're
I think
vastly different games. For adventure games, I say it should be on there. I'm fine with that.
debatable. This is where the list goes even worse into the shitter. Number 4, Half Life. After you have Half Life 2, and I'm sorry, much like when people think Terminator, they really only think T2, they don't think of the original. Yes, I know Half Life is before Half Life 2, and it was good. But be honest, Half Life 2 is the shit that changed the genre and changed the game. And you just fucking had it on this list. So, yeah, I really have an issue with that. Once again, I think they're showing their British leaning with these picks.
I don't
With
know.
the But then number 3, Super Mario Brothers. Okay, we're getting back on track. Making sense. Number 2, Doom. Making sense. I could even debate. Maybe Super Mario Bros. Should be number 2. Maybe it should be number 1. But Jim, what is the most influential game of all time, according to fucking BAFTA?
Now, Brian, before we do this, first off, we're going to have to give an apology to our buddy Jim Reiner, good old James Reiner, star of many a convention, absolute fanboy for this series. Part of his identity, his soul, Brian. And two, this was apparently put to a fan vote. This is how they put this list together. So you know the mind of the common Brit Bong. Number one, Brian, most influential video game of all time, the original Shenmue.
Are you fucking kidding me? I don't even want to see it in 21. Yes, it has a cult following. Yes, it was beloved. Yes, it was crazy for the Dreamcast. No, it is not one of the most influential games of all time, even in a 21 list. I'm sorry to our good buddy, but no. No,
And
just no.
you know what? If you want to say no Yakuza without no Shenmue, of course. I'm fine with that.
Wah.
But outside of Yakuza, what I guess you could say games that copied the day life cycle and the open worldness of it. I would say it's borderline. I'll give it borderline. I'll give it 20 or 21. I would be fine with that.
Jim,
Number
you know what it's trying
one.
to argue it helped inspire? Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley. Uh,
What?
Uncharted 4. Last of Us Part 2. God of War. And as you pointed out, Yakuza and Like a Dragon series. Where the fuck do they get Animal Crossing, Stardew Valley, Uncharted, and God of War, and Last of Us Part 2 from Shenmue?
Probably actually Yakuza is like a dragon. It was called Yakuza Dragon in Japan, and then it was called Yakuza when it was brought over to America. So get it
Just
right,
reading the
Brian.
article, Jim. God damn it.
But yes, to your point, like maybe there's bits and pieces. Sure. Have there not been day life cycles in other games before Shenmue? I have to assume there have been.
I could probably bet you many beers there has been. I just listen. We love lists, and you know what? I like my controversial list. But I feel like regardless of any list you make, where you say best game of all time, most influential game of all time, whatever, most impactful, you should. Everyone kind of default knows what your top 10 is, and your fuck around is from 11 to 21 in this case. It should be you throw some personal picks, you throw some oddities, you throw some shit. But there's some things you should see on all these lists. Like, where's Pac Man?
There's
Where's
Street Fighter
any
2.
Street Fighter 2? Where's any sports game? Period. And I know you're in Britain, so even if you want to throw a fucking soccer game,
Where's
just any
any
sports game.
racing game? Any shoot 'em up? Any kart
Yeah.
racing game? Mario Kart isn't even on the goddamn list. Where's literally
Where's
any
any legit FPS? Like, I get the hate for COD, but to not throw COD for as a default on these lists. And I know you got Doom. I respect that.
you
But
know what?
to
They have Half-Life 2. I'd be fine with that to take over the 3D for FPS game. I'm fine with that if they want to go that route. Fine.
I'm
But
not for the multiplayer aspect. Only for multiplayer aspect. That revolutionized multiplayer gaming. Period. Or fuck it, give me Quake 2
Quake 2 or
or
Halo.
count Counter Strike. What give? There's plenty of options you could have did.
Unreal
Even
Tournament, Halo, Quake, any of them, yeah.
even 007 Goldeneye. I'd be okay with that. But fuck, not one single horror game, and I'm not putting Half Life 2 as a horror game. I don't care what you put. Silent Hill, Resident Evil,
Glow in
something,
the Dark,
something.
Seventh
Yeah, put
Guest for the Brits.
anything. I don't care. Give me one horror game. Like you should, by default, have a standout of each major genre that clearly help establish it. That's all. Keep it very simple. You don't need two Grand Theft Autos, and you pick the two that I would argue aren't even uh, three. Yes, you change the formula to that, and where everyone came from that, like Vice City or anything else. But if you don't put fucking five at this point, you're like, okay, whatever.
I mean,
You
you don't
got
get
two
three without
Half
five.
Life.
Five didn't do that much
Yeah,
different than what three established. It just did
no,
it,
but that goes
bigger and
back to my
better.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is why I'm saying you definitely don't need one. One was a interesting thing, but like you change formats completely. You went to three and you would never look back. I just, yeah. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That is the there's a lot of sore issues I have with this. The Half-Life's being on here, but Kingdom Come Deliverance too. That like to me has to be because it's fan voted a joke.
Or, Bry, maybe it's because the Brits are giving a big fuck you to the griftosphere out there. And who's more at the top of the mountain of the griftosphere in the gaming sense right now than our good buddy Mark Edward Curran,
Can you just say
aka
N-word? It sounds like you said N-word. What's on your mind, Jim? First,
Bry.
you're hating on the Japanese. Now, come on, what's wrong with you?
Bry, what's on my mind is milking girls through hentai because we are talking about good old Grums, or should I call him Debbie Chan? Because it has come to life through a combined effort of a lot of people out there, including the Western Kabuki podcast and this YouTuber known as MLYP, who released his magnum opus so far to the tune of 485,000 views for a channel that started off with like 1,000 subscribers, is now up to 11. Gudernamicon, episode 1, Grums, where he goes into Mark Curran's history of misappropriating money, flushing money down the toilet, failing at business after business, and of course, having a side hustle running porn sites for the past 20 years. Now, do I personally care that Grums ran porn sites? No. Do I care that he ran them under an alias known as Debbie Chan, which is really fucking weird? No, but it's something fun to make fun of him with. But the reason that it is such a big deal is because he's so claiming, exposing about how everyone's lost their way, how we need to have a return to normalcy, how the LGBT community is ruining everything. Meanwhile, he's making catfight lesbian porn and commissioning hentai of girls forcibly milking other people. The milking thing's amazing because people say that like the joke around that Grums was the breast milk thief of 2008 at Blizzard. He was not working at Blizzard at the time, so it was not him. But the fact he has a milk fetish while people are saying that he was the milk thief is just too perfect. And of course, the video goes into other things about his Redfall company and the development behind Firefall and how he just burned money on all these promotional vans and stuff like that. And of course, the 8-year life cycle that we are currently in for the game Ember, which was raised over $600,000 for it, and is still in a barely playable demo state where where people who backed it are getting increasingly pissed off in Discord servers and Reddit threads. So yes, there is so much to get into here, but he has been the guy at the top of the mountain of Gamergate 2, and that's your guy, huh? That's the horse you're backing, huh, everybody? Good job.
Jim, it's one of those times where I know you're too online way too much. And 99% of the time, you send me a video and a link. I'm watching all of it. I couldn't make it through this one. I skipped around a bit. I had to try and listen here and there. So much of this was so fucking over my head. I know Grums because of shit you brought up on Normie Views and other pieces here and there. And I see his name pop up here and there. And I don't know what's more disturbing. Like, with what you just summarized, I guess the big finding is he's been running this secret site for however many years.
Multiple secret sites.
That's not really the most worrisome thing here. It's who put the time together to make this fucking video on a guy that, unless you are online way too much, not a soul in the world knows who the fuck Grums is.
So wait, Brian, are you saying the bad guy in this is the guy making the video, the expose?
I'm saying I still don't understand. Like, if the outcome of this is that Grums is running a creepy website in the background, I don't know anything else about it. Like, I would have assumed that he would be the type of guy to do that. Like, is that something people are actually shocked about? Or is it like one of those things where it's like, yep, that probably fits him. Just like we'll get into it in a little bit. Billy Mitchell cheated. I'm shocked. Like, is this a smoking gun or is this a yeah, okay.
It's not so much a smoking gun as more as it is something funny that you can forever make fun of him for, just because of how holier than thou he's always been, while always just being like a secret pervy creep, basically. Now, the more damning stuff is probably the alleged hypothesized tax evasion, possibly, and the burning of money and the misappropriation of funds throughout all these years, and the alleged dumping of money that should have gone to his various video game projects being dumped into his side porn hustles and stuff like that. Like, those are actually really bad things that people could go after him for with enough digging and stuff like that. The porn side, it's funny. And him, apparently he was on a stream with like Yellow Flash and a bunch of other people from that sphere, and he was like drunk during it, and he started talking about how hot his mom used to be and she was in Playboy before, and people pieced together that apparently one of the big titty characters in Ember is kind of based on his mom. So there's a lot to unpack there with good old Debbie here.
And listen, he's a complete weirdo. I'm not denying that. I'm saying whoever this MLYP guy is, what worried me was like, okay, so the first intro, number one, dude, the audio was terrible. Can we just address that? It was rough to listen to. I don't know what was going on with his mic. But going into the meat of this guy is clearly talented enough to pull up all this data and do investigatory, I don't know if that's a word, research into somebody. And the fact that he went this deep and like was pulling archive shit and like going back to 2002, 2001 and highlighting all these like connection points. And he's like, yeah, he was under this alias. And I found this like one obscure site of this model that said, thank you, Mark. And that must have been him. Like he's investigating a murder. Like this is somebody where I'm like, you clearly have talent to this shit, and you wasted it on like my point is you wasted this effort on Grums, and maybe I'm underestimating how big Grums is. I look at him as like a no, I look at him as a second rate boogie, like as far as people that would know about him, and that's my concern of this. I'm like, is that really what the internet's become? Like this microcosm of go after the D tier folks that are popular on Twitter for being controversial and weird, and now you make documentaries on them.
I,
There's something to that, Jim. I'm just saying.
I mean, Bri, we have 10-hour documentaries on Christine Weston Chandler out there. Basically, the forefather, mother, whatever you want to say at this point, of people documenting. Now, here's the thing. I'm very glad that you find it to not be a big deal. And probably for normal people out there who aren't on Twitter terminally, you have no idea what's going on. You
I
all
don't.
live a better life than I do. I'm just going to put that out there right now. You all live a better life than I do. For people on the gaming sphere of gaming Twitter and who have just been sucked into the whole sphere of all this Gamergate bullshit and anti-Gamergate people and stuff like that, Grums is the biggest name of it out there. He's the most controversial,
Hmm.
and he's the one who, he's if he goes after you, he sicks a legion of hundreds of thousands of sycophants after you, who will try to dig up dirt on you and try to do shit to you and ruin you. Of course, he's crying foul right now, saying that he's trying to be canceled and blah blah blah. But you know, he's been playing dirty pool for 10 years now. He was part of the first Gamergate. He's part of this Gamergate. Like, you don't do it. You're not a Gamergator if you have like a just you hide behind a just cause, but you're really a guy looking to stir shit for your own personal gain. That's what they all do. So he's a net negative on the internet community, basically. So having a video like this out here, it's a win for people who are against that kind of sphere. And he even said, like, a lot of people worked on it. It wasn't just him. I will say he did a good job of putting it all together in this video. Other people, I think, made the timelines and shit. He just kind of presented it to everyone. So
Hmm.
to put it that in perspective. But yeah, again, it's one of those things where it's like if you're not involved in the sphere at all, you might not even know it exists. And again,
Yeah.
I'm jealous. You live a better life.
Well, to your point, not knowing that Grums did all that shit of like sicking fans on people and all that. Yeah, yeah, go after him. I don't give a fuck.
And
Like,
in fairness to his stupid ass, he doesn't directly say, "Hey, go after this person or ruin them." But you know, if he targets a person, the fans follow. It's that kind of deal.
so to your point, uh, good on the victory that, hey, he's being called out for all this shit. I like to see somebody who does negative being called out for negative shit. So good on you. But Jim, the one that caught my eye more, just because we've both covered this and I am more familiar with this guy, uh, can you give me the mile high breakdown? Because I've read through it and I still feel like I'm missing something here with Karl Jobst, who also he's covered a few things that I know we've talked about. Another, I just call him a YouTube documentarian at this point, um, or investigator. I don't know, drama cover, whatever you want to say.
I mean, he got famous just being a big fan and documenting steam runs and doing being a documentarian on that stuff, which he still does. But then he dipped his little toes, his little Australian toes into the drama sphere, and that's where he really started to blow up.
So let me maybe the best place is let me give you what I think is a summary of the situation, and you tell me how wrong I am. So he was dealing with multiple lawsuits from Billy Mitchell. Um, my understanding is he was up to a third lawsuit with him. Um, initially, he was being sued, and he might not have directly said it, but it might have been insinuated that he was being sued because he was claiming Billy Mitchell had cheated. It comes to light that that might not have been the case, and Karl has apparently maintained that he never asked for any funding or even requested it with the first lawsuit. It was the second and third one where he accumulated over 600K of legal fees, and that's where he's been spending the money. Come to find out that some of this lawsuit, or a large portion of it, might have been tied to Apollo Legend, but I don't know what that is. And he basically admitted, like, I could have been more forthcoming with what the lawsuit was about. And the insinuation that it was about Billy Mitchell cheating might not have been completely honest. And he apparently pissed a lot of people off. And by asking for money and not being forthcoming with it, I think a lot of people are saying, like, you owe a lot of explanations. And that's where my understanding is at with this situation.
Carl definitely has some explaining to do. That is for goddamn sure. So, a couple things real quick. Apollo Legend was another YouTuber who was also big into the speed running and game achievement sphere. So kind of in the same kind of deal as Carl, and he also made multiple videos about Billy Mitchell, where basically claiming he cheated on stuff. So Billy Mitchell and him had a lawsuit, and it got settled. No money ever actually changed hands, apparently. Carl made videos years ago where he, like you said, insinuated that, because Apollo lost and had to give Billy X amount of dollars, which never happened, that it basically insinuating that him losing and giving Billy money led to Apollo Legend suicide, blaming Billy for that. And
Hmm.
then that saying that was apparently the impetus for the first lawsuit that Billy filed, which is the one that was still going and is the big one that just settled. Now, after that happened, there were other multiple lawsuits where Billy would file against Carl for saying that he cheated at video games and stuff like that. And it was with the second one, there were three. And with the second one is when he started his GoFundMe for legal fees to fight him. So the second and third lawsuits never fully went through. I guess either Billy didn't follow through with it or the judge just threw it away. But the first one was still there. So years, months go by. Carl keeps making videos, doing his usual thing, making a lot of videos about Billy Mitchell, always talking about the cheating end of things, talking about how he's still in a lawsuit with him, talking about cheating. never really hammered home that the lawsuit he was embroiled in was about the Apollo Legend stuff. Apparently there was like a Patreon post here or there where he basically would have said, like on August 29th, 2023, he said, "Hello, you absolute legends, as the organizer of the GoFundMe. Thank you so much for the support you've given so far. Billy Mitchell ended up backing out of the second lawsuit, which means all funds will go towards helping with the existing lawsuit and to deal with inevitable future threats. I'm hoping to get the trial done within the next few months, so fingers crossed it's all wrapped up soon. Little do we know, it'll go on for at least another year and a half." So, in a very, I guess, small way, you can say, he did kind of throw it out there. And then with his explanations, he always said that he never talked more in videos about the Apollo Legend stuff in that lawsuit because he was in a lawsuit and didn't want to bring up facts and incriminate himself, basically, while still making all his other videos calling him a cheater and shit like that. So naturally, everyone following, whether closely or tangentially, because even people closely following, like, didn't realize it wasn't about that, all thought, oh, he's being sued because he said Billy cheated. Billy cheated. So this is a bullshit case. So he got all this money thrown his way.
Mm.
And then, this is my high level thing because I haven't very closely followed it. I've watched some videos and I've seen a lot of Twitter discourse going back and forth. So this is what I've been able to piece together. And so basically, it came settlement time. And I think it was April 1st, even. So ironically enough, Karl lost. Uh, the judge sided with Billy Mitchell, and Karl has to pay back a fee along with all of Billy's legal expenses and shit like that. And it's looking like it's going to be to the tune of at least $300,000 he's going to be owing Billy Mitchell. So, he apparently knee jerk released a video that he's since taken down. Uh, and basically, he said there were a lot of lies spread that I falsely claimed Billy sued me because I said he cheated. I never claimed this. I only claimed it was relevant as part of my defense. I did openly discuss details for obvious reasons, but I was never trying to hide why I was being sued. So this is the post to the video that's been taken down. In his video, I fully allow Billy to explain what he's been suing me, and I specifically state that I did not choose to go into too much detail because it related to the ongoing lawsuit. Furthermore, I never asked for money when Billy originally sued me. It was only after he sent me a second lawsuit and threatened a third, which completely unrelated, that I needed to crowdfund. My total legal costs are well over $600,000, so any money I received went to my lawyers. I did not intentionally try to deceive anyone or trick anyone. But the criticism that I should have been more transparent is valid, and I am sorry. Truthfully, I didn't want to repeat or mention any claims regarding Apollo Legend because it may have jeopardized my defense. I never intentionally lied regarding Apollo Legend either. I relied on incorrect information from multiple sources. I retracted the statements once I confirmed it was inaccurate, but apparently it was not sufficient. At some point, I will, of course, produce a video discussing everything. So that was posted on the 1st. His last post to Twitter was on April 4th, where he says, I will be releasing a video next weekend outlining everything in detail. Thanks for anyone who has patience until then. I'm not bitter for any negative comments or videos about me until then. I've been very critical of people in the past. It would be extremely hypocritical of me to feel like I should be threatened any differently. I dish out a lot. I should be able to take it back. I am confident that I'll be able to ease a lot of concern or perhaps some incorrect narratives with my response. I hope you watch it. So, a lot of people have been digging up a lot of older videos, older clips since then, as these controversies do. That just kind of makes Karl look worse and worse and worse. Where people who were originally defending him were starting to go, yeah, he still should have done a better job, but it's looking like he really didn't do a good enough job at all or almost intentionally hit it kind of deal. So, as far as I know, I will take a quick look over to his YouTube channel. And yes, he has not uploaded a video since 1 month ago, an Elon Musk related video. So he has not addressed it yet. Him saying next weekend has passed, video is still not out. Still working on it. And yes, it has been a complete brouhaha over on the social media sphere. And his reputation at this point has been completely drugged through the dirt. He's lost all credibility in the minds of like most people out there. It's not good for our man Karl. And sitting at the top of the mountain with his hot sauce and his ties and his suits and his luscious locks of hair being memed in as the winner of the hour is one William Mitchell. And even just today, Brian, not shortly before, 7:30 in the morning this morning, he posted a screenshot, probably taken from either a direct Discord message or Carl's Discord, where someone says back in late March of 2025, Ghost of Yoda says, "Do you ever run scripts for videos like this past a lawyer, or is it not worth the expense?" To which Carl replied, "No, I don't fuck lawyers and what they think. If I want to say something, I will say it. Fuck letting other people tell you what to do. A lawyer will always tell you to say nothing. Who wants to live by that principle?" Right, that could be the most famous of last words right there.
Um, yeah, I,
Mike, drop Billy.
I mean, I've said this about every single drama commenter, whatever YouTuber. This is a vicious cycle, right? You're entering into this world of negativity and you're continuing it. The to call people out and to end up getting sued. The thing I still don't understand is, so his suit wasn't directly about Billy Mitchell cheating. It was about the Apollo legend and maybe the accusation that he was making a claim that Billy might have had something to do with Apollo legend. Like,
But yeah, basically,
so
I guess Billy
that's
sued him
what.
for that
Okay,
for basically for implying that Billy caused his suicide. That's why Billy sued him.
okay, and yeah, I mean, hmm. I wonder if it was done out of ignorance or strategically to not really be more forthcoming about that's what the lawsuit it was about. Like he's making the claim, I never hit it, I just didn't explain it good enough. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know, nor do I care. I think at the end of the day, this is a very weird one where I'm like, you never want to see Billy Mitchell win because I still have my feelings about him from King of Kong. you know,
Right.
um, but at the end of the day, also, if you're claiming he did something like that or was associated with something like that, yeah, the dude should have a right to defend himself. And if he really didn't, that's pretty fucked up too. You can't just be making claims like that. So, yeah, no one wins. I don't know. I don't know what to say here,
He done
except for
goofed.
as you said, Billy Mitchell wins at the end of this. So, yeah, I only knew Carl because he was like you said, he's covered speedrunners, but I forget which specific piece of drama we were covering that he got involved in. But
Right.
calling out,
Who could forget the drama around Gerard the completionist, Brian?
yes, that's what it was. Yeah. So,
Which, real quick, a lot of people are like, "Oh shit! If he was wrong about this, then maybe he's wrong about Gerard." It's like, come on, people. These are two completely different things right now, and you have a phone call with Gerard basically panicking, and you know, I still think Gerard's is guilty. Like some people are throwing that around, but that never stuck. Everyone still just goes fuck Gerard, so we at least have that going for us. But Brian, say what you will about Billy the King, all right? The man seems to win the lawsuits that he files.
he sure does. He sure
So
does.
have we all been wrong? Was King of Kong perhaps telling more of a tall tale than the actual truth?
Um, no,
For
I
as much
need
as
to
we love
back
it.
my boy Steve.
Hey, look,
I don't.
no disrespect to the Weebster, all right? Steve Weeby is a hell of a gentleman, all right?
I mean, it was the underdog story of a lifetime, Jim.
And in an underdog story, you need a bad guy, Bry. But really, was he the victim? Much like he was by these mean bullies like Apollo Legend, possibly, and maybe even Karl Jobst.
Jim, maybe if he can be the victim, so can I.
Don't you fucking dare.
If you can explore that.
You know what? Retracted. Fuck Billy Mitchell.
Jim,
For legal
you know
reasons, I'll
what?
say he never cheated, but fuck Billy Mitchell anyway. He looks weird. I don't trust it.
Oh, Chambers. So the real question is, how did that beer treat you? Did it get you some more flavor by the end, or were you kind of like, meh?
Meh, very meh. Uh, yeah, I mean, if you're like I said, if you're a sour fan, this will do nothing for you. Can art's cool. If you don't like sours, I don't think it has a flavor that will keep you coming back for anything either, though. So yeah, I would say it's a miss. But Bry, after
Okay.
that, I had to keep wetting my palate from all the fucking talking I did this episode. I joined the Bullet Club with you, Bry. So had me a good old
All
silver
right.
boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really, I can't say I'm a fan of them. They're fine, but I think I'm just too much of a Hams fan now, Jim. I I I I don't know what it is. That beer just has better flavor and the aftertaste. You know what it is? After finishing, as I'm drinking the coolers, they're fine. The aftertaste is it's a little stale, and I don't get that with Hams, Jim, because it's the land of clear blue water.
That it is. Bry, we have to think of a term for ourselves and for our brethren who fall down the hams pipeline. Are we hamsmen? Hamsmiths?
Hamsters,
Hamhocks?
maybe. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there,
Not to
but
network this.
I Hams is I don't want it to become the thing that everyone discovers that's better than it is because I don't want to pay more than 14 bucks for the 30 pack, but still,
You don't want a 15 pack to turn to 30 like 30 bucks like fucking Bush Light when TikTok got a hold of that.
precisely. So,
Bush Latte. It's ironic.
yeah. But Chambers, with that, I wanted to go ahead and say thank you to everyone who has listened and watched. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you hit the notification bell, hit subscribe, leave us a comment, let us know what you liked, you didn't like. And if you are listening on Podbean, iTunes, or Spotify, hit the subscribe button. And if you give us a 5-star rating, we'll read each and every one of those comments on each and every one of these episodes of Power Hour Podcast. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
Boo. I'm the victim.